Hey guys, happy Sunday to you today. It is April 14th, 2024. I'm going to name this video Girl, Did You Hear? And the reason why I'm going to name it Girl, Did You Hear? It is because I am going to discuss what is going on with a pretty high profile Christian couple that everyone are kind of discussing right now. But I hope that you understand in all things. I kind of try to take a different lens to popular conversations and topics. Uh, Unfortunately, today I heard about Kierra Sheard and her husband may be going through, a little bit of a rocky time. And their new parents, they have their beautiful little girl. I saw her. And that is a cute little girl. She is so pretty. And I want to touch on something for you guys. I just ask that you give this couple something that most high profile couples are not afforded, and that is a grace, privacy, and time. Okay, because in these instances, it doesn't just impact the couple, the child, but it also impact the in-laws, extended family, and friends. So in some instances, like Kiera, it may even impact business as well as her ministry. So, with that said, I just ask that you take a different approach, and not because she's a cheered, not because her daddy is the presiding bishop, but because we should consider taking a different approach to things as a culture and a community and see how those results look, opposed to us always engaging things the exact same way and getting the exact same outcomes. Take this moment to learn from this couple, learn from this experience, and gain insight and wisdom that you can apply to your life and maybe a young couple that may be in your family or close to you. Anyone who has been married will tell you the main times you start feeling the real rockiness within your marriage is going to be after having a baby. Within 24 months of having a baby, all Hades break loose. Anyone who has ever uh, been married and then have children will tell you this is true. And if you have multiple children, after each child, something happens. It's almost like the uh, marriage go into code red and they have to go through a process of recovery, and that is attributed to one hormones. The mother, I don't know if people know this, it takes 2 years for a woman's body to truly recover from having a child. So postpartum can lead, last for 2 years. Sometimes it's between the hormones, the emotional changes, lack of sleep, like loss of identity, all of these things attribute to causing some kind of bumpiness in the marriage. And for the man, it may be feeling like he's no longer the center of the household, getting the attention that he's used to. And that can cause some men to exhibit some behaviors of resentment. And then some men, because of the weight of the responsibility and what's expected for him for his identity as a dad and a husband, they go into flight mode, meaning they withdraw emotionally, they withdraw physically, and then in some instances, they start finding vices and things outside of the covenant itself. And that only help to escalate the breakdown of the covenant itself. Some start making poor decisions, micro micro adultery. um Sometimes it just turn into something that it shouldn't be. These new, that's my friend, just have someone to talk to. And that, like I said, it breaks down the marriage itself. And I'm sure in Kiera's situation, she's surrounded, by this infinite army of women with so much wisdom. I mean, several lifetimes of wisdom about being a wife, being a Christian wife, being a successful woman. She's surrounded. by an army of women who are able to help her navigate through this from their experience. But on the other hand, some aspects of this may be foreign to the women who are in close proximity to her. Because if Kiera was the one who decided that I'm done, I'm over this, I can't take it no more. What you're doing is just too much. I'm not going to stand for this. That is a modern response that most women who are in close proximity to her do not believe in. They do not believe in ending these covenants even after sometimes an affair. And in instances of actual physical abuse, they're okay with those women leaving then. But other than that, they just like, you got to work through it. Everybody go through something. And it kind of minimizes the emotional impact of when your marriage goes into crisis mode. If this family decide to dissolve the covenant, um, I just ask that you all keep in mind they are constantly under the microscope. Everyone always have their eyes on these high profile couples, and that's an additional stressor. They have all these expectations of them, and they forget that they're people. They forget that they have feelings, and that they're no different from anyone else, who have cried, screamed, yelled, and been broken before as women. So I just ask that you give them some privacy. And not only that, I just ask that you also do something you've probably never done before and change the way that you pray for them. Meaning, pray for them that the Lord's will is done. Pray for them that they have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, self-control, discipline, and not react hastily and carnally, but really be spirit led in everything that they're doing, right? And pray for them to have protection and privacy during this time. So, and after you do that, pray also, okay, for young couples around the same age group. Those are prayer opportunities for us. When we see these high profile couples, we should take that information and be like, you know what? We don't pray for young couples enough. I'm not only going to pray for them, I'm also going to pray for couples in that specific generation, not just that denomination, not just that couple, but that specific generation. They face a lot of challenges that my generation we didn't have to navigate, and they have more stressors than we, problems that are foreign to us. Even though my family and I are pretty visible, we still were strategic enough to have a level of privacy about the dissolution of our marriage. We were very strategic and mindful. Even when people we're doing things like reaching out to extended family, trying to get information, poking around, wanting to know things. The family was still responding in the manner that we requested of them. And we have always implemented in our family that we close ranks, give them enough information for them to chew on that like a dog, and to keep them away from us while we try to go through this process that impact us as individuals, impact our children, impact our grandchildren. Because some people, they find delight in your suffering, and they just want the information for no other reason but to make their self-loathing, their failure, their inadequacy, their depravity feel better about themselves. But the thing is, we give all praise, glory, and honor to God that even after our suffering, even during the suffering, even no matter what we've been through, that we come out of it because of God's grace, glory, power, and majesty in His word. We don't end up like them. We don't stay in a place of death. We don't stay in a place of negativity. We don't stay there. We grow and we go on. Whereas people who are stuck like that, they have to find wickedness to keep them happy. Happy. That's the only way life will work for them, because they have already given up. They're no longer a person of faith. They are now just they're just a weapon of mass destruction for the enemy. I'm about to pivot real quick. I just looked at one of my tabs and I was reminded that I wanted to provide some information to you guys to research. And it's about this particular sect that was mentioned in the book of Revelation. And I ended up, of course, doing my devotional, and I ended up reading a scriptural text, reading about them in the book of Revelation, chapters 1 and 2. And I was studying them, researching them. The Lord was just on me, to research what He had led me to. He wanted me to see the significance of this particular um I don't even know how to this it was a cult. It was a cult that existed. And John wrote about it in the book of Revelation. And when you read about them, you notice that each problem that was revealed in the book of Revelation, it was about a specific church that they were pointing out. Each church, each of the seven churches has something different they were dealing with or going through. And in this particular instance, you have the Nicolaites or Nicolaism. And it was the weirdest thing. I just put it there. Hold on one second. Where is it? There it is. Yay. I'm sorry. And reading about them blew my mind. Okay. Because it described, when you research this particular sect of people, it describes verbatim what is going on with the church right now. And it's scary. It is scary. And I didn't expect to find it, but, or be led to it. And it did. And it mentioned briefly about Jezebel's food. And I could be honest with you, it almost made me want to drop, my entire, tablet. I was doing my notes and stuff. The reason being is because I had this dream. This was some years ago. I had a dream that there was a popular pastor and he was preaching. And there were 3 rows of women in front of me. And I was sitting on that fourth row. And I could see as the man spoke, their pocket books got bigger and more money was going into it. But at the same time, there were bees flying and buzzing all around them. And it was the weirdest thing. It was like it went from being bees, I could hear them, to then it looked like flies because as the money was going, swelling in their purses, it turned from money to rotting food. And they were just consuming it. And it was weird to me because at first I thought they were eating money. Anyway, so fast forward, I ended up in what looked like a galleria or a mall of some sort, but it wasn't stores. It was just all these beautiful granite floors, marble floors, and these massive pillars that I can't even describe to you. They were so shiny and so pretty. And the next thing you know, you had these like angelic beings that were taller than giants, and they were placing these babies, down on the floor, and these babies were laughing and so joyful. And you're being told as we were walking through there that these are your babies, these are your children, and each one of the children was a different grace. Each one of those babies were something different, a different gift of the spirit. But anyway, so then comes this restaurant, and the doors were big, but they were ancient. They looked like they belonged on some biblical time gate or something. That's what it looked like. And I was like, I don't want to go in there. I don't want to eat in there. I'm not hungry. I don't want that. I was busy playing with the babies. But anyway, so these group of guys, they was like, yeah, this is the place we supposed to eat at. This is the place right here. And I tapped one of them on the shoulder and I said, whatever you do, don't eat her food. I told him that. I said, whatever you do, don't eat her food. And so I could see into the restaurant. I didn't go into it. And there was a table laid before them. And I heard in the spirit in that dream that this is Jezebel's table that they're seated at. This is Jezebel's table. And I thought that was weird because I had never heard of such. And they had like this long smorgasbord buffet. Just, I mean, as far as I could see, you can see all these men sitting there and eating it. It was like they were just gorging themselves with food, and they just couldn't. Their appetites were insatiable. They couldn't stop themselves. And I said, they done ate all that rotten food and them same flies, maggots that I saw in the church. They were also all over the food, but they walked clean past the babies that represented all of these gifts in the spirit and graces on your life. They walked clean past those. They didn't want those. They wanted this food, this nasty food. Well, anyway, when you read and study about this group of people, you will see how it coincides with that dream that I had all of these years later. But please research it. It is interesting. It is something, and it also involves marriages as well. That this particular code within biblical era, they believed in polygamy. They would put their wife away so that other men would sleep with them, so that the woman would be defiled. It was almost like they wanted to cause them to be heretics right along with them by their actions as women. What these men believed about the women, you just read it, just study it, and enjoy it. I'm about to skedaddle. All I'm asking for is to please be gracious, kind, and pray for them. This is an entertainment, and I just pray as Christians that we get to the point that we stop deeming when things happen with Christian couples as entertainment for us, because it isn't. It isn't entertainment for us. It's actually a crisis that impact everyone that are a part of the body of Christ, because people will use it as an excuse for them falling away in the faith, right? So with that said, I just ask that we all pray for them as we would desire for someone else to pray for us during those times. I'm thankful for the covering I still have to this day, who have my six, have my back, who intervene, pray, and intercede for me when I need it, and minister to me when I need it as well, as I go through the healing and restoration process. And I just pray the same thing for Kierra during this time and her husband. Can't wait to read your comments. Talk to you later. Bye.